The craziest thing that happened to me when I lost the parameters was staring right in front of me the entire time. So parameter number 1, as you can see, it's 01000000. Now I never changed this one at all. The default parameter, when I got the memory restored, the batteries in and all that stuff, you can see these are all the ones that I was messing around with, but number 1 I never wrote down because I never changed it. And it took me like 5 days to figure out this was the problem here. So if you're having issues homing in your machine, check this one. Now I'm not guaranteeing changing these bits to this value will work. It should work on this exact model, the TC-15, and also the TC-2, I believe might be similar or the same. But this is very important, and I never changed it, so I don't even know what it was before the crash, but I believe it must have been this. And then when I lost my batteries, it changed itself to this. That's my best suspicion. So let's talk real quick about how to actually mess with the parameters. So quick warning, if you have a supervisor or a boss or an owner, I would really recommend you talk to them about this first, or have them deal with it, because you can really do a lot of devastating things if you mess with these and you mess them all up, especially if you don't have the original parameters written down or backed up. So the first thing you should do is go through. So how to even get there, I'm just on my whatever default position page. Now this is totally safe to do. You're not gonna be able to change anything. Go to diagnose parameters. Go to hit this soft key. This soft key. Now you're gonna want to hit page down a few times. And here it is. These are the actual parameters. There's also diagnostic parameters, but we'll worry about that later if we need to. These are the main parameters of the machine. Now if we scroll down page by page, there's a lot of pages. My machine has, I don't know how many, quite a lot. But it keeps going. Yep, it skips to about 6,000 there. We're coming towards the end here soon. Maybe not. Yeah, so it skips around a little bit, but a lot of the parameters are empty. Just because they're at zeros doesn't mean they're not important. It just might mean they're not being used right now. But there's definitely certain parameters that are a lot more important than other ones. Like some of them are so funny. There's ones that turn on, like when you go to MDI, you can turn on like certain bits of information, like your location of your X and Y, and some other things that kind of like take up the screen. I have them turned off. They're called the special parameters. So yeah, I don't know if your parameter manual explains that at all, but it's kind of funny. So how to actually change your parameters. So you're going to go to diagnose parameters, param. Now for this, you need to be in the MDI mode, right? So set your deal to MDI. Now you want to go down one page to PWE. PWE means parameter write enable. Now how to turn this on is you hit 1 and then you hit input and you get this alarm. So this is God mode. You can pretty much change any parameter in the machine. You could mess it up really bad, but it locks you out of doing a lot of things. You can't do a whole lot here. You can't turn the spindle on. You can't really do much, but See, this is the ladder for electrical diagnostics. It shows like physical graphic images of each connection. I'm not really sure how this part, I haven't got that far yet. Well, we're gonna go back to parameters. So to actually change a parameter, so we have PWE, parameter right enable on. This is gonna be on, that's okay. And to turn it off, by the way, change it back to 0, right here, hit input. Now it's off. Now if you hit reset, it'll turn off your alarm. But we need it on, so we're gonna turn her on just like that. So now, I'm gonna change this parameter back to where it was before and show you how messed up this thing was. First, I'm gonna show you what it's supposed to look like when you home the machine. So we're gonna go to 0 return. We're gonna go to position and we'll go to all. So I'm gonna do the Z first. So we're gonna be going this way. See it rapids over, slowly approaching 0. There we are. Now I'm going to show you the X. See if I can zoom out a little more. So you notice how the machine is in millimeters right now? I'll show you how to set that back to inches, but when you're doing work with parameters, you want to have this in millimeters because it makes things a lot easier when you're messing around with your soft limits and finding out where your hard limits are. That's what I was doing earlier with this sheet here, but we'll talk about that after. So that's what a normal home is supposed to look like, right? You scroll down and you home the X. And it rapids up and then it slowly approaches as the proximity sensor goes into position. So what happened with me is this parameter was messed up. So we're gonna go back to parameters, go to MDI. So we're gonna turn on PWE. Parameter right enable. There's our red light, so we're in. So I'm going to change number 1 back to what it was before and show you how devastating just one little bit number 5 right here. It's not bit number 3. The bits go 0. It goes 0 to 7 this way. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is bit number 5. Here's a little diagram explaining how the bits work. I'm sure like all of you know this, but yeah, important information to have. So if somebody writes, you see this a lot on like practical machinists. If someone says bit 63.0, they're talking about this bit number 0063. They're talking about this bit right here. So if they write 901.5, then they're talking about the bit I was just talking about, number 5 right there, 567. So just a little clarity for you. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is unchanged. So once you have your desired parameter input written here, you're gonna hit input, and now it's changed. So 000 alarm means you've just changed like a lot of things in the machine and it needs to do a full restart. Well, just the controller. You don't have to really turn off the power on the back. You can if you want, but you don't have to do it with this parameter in this case. So I'm gonna, but first you need to turn PWE off. So I'm gonna go back to here, parameters, go page down, 0 input. So now my PWE's off. So we go back to alarms. I hit reset. Now we only have the 000 alarm, and that's the one where we have to reboot the controller. So we're gonna do that right now. As you know, e-stop off. Now we're gonna give it a 5 seconds or so. It's an older computer, so you can't just off and on, off. You know, give it a little time to cool down, like a Comcast modem. Maybe 15 seconds. Turn it back on. All right. So now I'm going to show you what that parameter does in relation to homing, and basically a problem I've been chasing down for about 5 days. So I'm going to scroll way over here. I'm going to scroll way down here as well. Also, you can tell I have all the covers off and stuff because it was like disgusting. So yeah, you don't really want to keep these parts off for too long because they're kind of important to protect the ways. But for this demonstration, it's nice that these are off because we can see the ball screws and everything working, and we'll get shots of that stuff later because it's pretty important. So now I'm going to home the machine with these parameter settings. So I'm going to go to home. I go to position. So about 200 millimeters away on each axis. So it's plenty of space. So I'm going to do the Z first again. You see how slow that's going? So it's going really slow, which is a bad sign, right? I mean, it's going somewhere. Still going. All right. And it just, at 65 millimeters, it gave up and just said, this is 0. So you see these lines? These were the lines that I wrote like a week ago when this problem started happening. So these lines I actually scribed in with a grinder. That's the hard stop, and that's about where I like to keep the soft limit. And these lines were when I was keeping track of this homing problem because it kept stopping here. So also on the X, I have this Sharpie mark. This is where the X is supposed to be in relation to this little piece of rubber. But as you'll see when I home the X here, ready? It just slowly climbs up. And she stops there. You can see the witness line here from when this was sitting against this rubber for so many years. So you know that's where it's supposed to be. So what's actually happening? So I'm now on the right side of the machine, behind the controller. There's a chip conveyor. So I'm going to introduce you to our friends here, the different parts that we're going to be talking about here for the next couple minutes. So I have this cover off. It's right there because it was really in the way, and this thing was full of chips and stuff from like 25 years of use. So I really wanted to clean it out and inspect the wires and just make sure the limit switches are working. So let's get started here. So this is our limit switch, and these are the limit switch dogs. So this is the hard stop. So when you scroll your machine all the way down and it rides up onto this, it shuts down the hydraulic pump and pretty much makes the machine immobile. So it's a very important safety function, not just for the human, but if you can imagine if this wasn't here and you just scrolled the machine, jogged the machine all the way up into the ball screw bearing, it would just destroy itself, right? It would like rip itself out of the casting. It would be a bad day. So this is the X positive limit switch dog. This is the X negative one. Now this is the proximity sensor dog. And this blue guy in here with the target on it, that's the proximity sensor. So this is the piece I've been having problems with. I haven't been having any issues with this. The problem is here is the proximity sensor would stop when the target gets to about this point when it needed to be up here. So it needed to go past this thing. So that parameter, I believe, made this thing work in reverse. So it thought it was already up here. So I really don't know how to articulate how that works, but it's a 1 or a 0 binary. So I can assume off or on, yes or no. It wasn't happy. It was consistently homing to the same spot, so it was weird. But yeah, let me go do an X positive when it was the machine was sick, or when it was when she wasn't doing too good, and then I'll do it again with the correct parameter. All right, let's home the X with the wrong parameter. It's kind of a stretch, but I got my hand on the X right now, and let's home her. So again, going very slowly. Right. So the X would get to that point every time and stop. Now let me show you what it looks like with the correct parameter. All right, last but not least, let's show you the X home now with the correct parameter and doing the P cancel. P cancel is a pretty funny terminology. So again, let's go to MDI, diagnose parameters, parameter, page down, 1, input. Go back to parameters, parameter soft key, down, down. I'm gonna change this back, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, input. I got my 2 alarms. Go back here, parameters, down, turn that off, input. Now we can power down. Give it a few seconds. So now we've got the new parameter in, and we're gonna home the axes. So we'll do the Z first. Over travel Z. Let's try the X. Over travel X. So as you can see, we're still way off from where we're trying to be. Trying to be up here. And down there, we're still got an inch to go or so right here. So the problem with that is the machine still thinks that home is back where we were before. So we have to do this technique called P-cancel. And what it's basically gonna do, what it's gonna look like, it'd be better if you read up on it than me explaining it. But what we're gonna do is when the machine is off, we're gonna hold P and cancel while we boot up the machine. And it's gonna tell the machine that you have no home position anymore. So it's gonna just keep going until the proximity sensor can like fully do its thing, and then the home position will reset and the machine 0 will be correct. So I'm gonna try to set my phone up so I can like demonstrate this. First, you wanna get your axes like way in the middle. So I'm gonna move just everything way out of the way because you don't want the proximity sensors to be on the dogs at all. So just get everything pretty far away, and yeah, see what happens. Step 1, once your machine is jogged into the middle somewhere, you're gonna turn off your e-stop, turn off your power, turn off your main power, and you're gonna wanna wait 20 to 30 seconds. All right, it's been 20 seconds. So step 2, turn the machine on. Now we can pull the red thing out first, the e-stop. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold down P and cancel both at the same time with your right hand. And then while you're holding those with your left hand, you're gonna turn the power on. And it's gonna boot normally, but with your right hand, you wanna keep holding these down the whole time we do this. So I'm gonna kind of set my phone up somewhere back here and hopefully I can show this. All right, so with your right hand, we're gonna hold down P and cancel. And then with your left hand, turn the power on. Now remember to keep holding this the entire time. So the controller's booting up. And this is where the magic happens, or it's supposed to. So you're gonna go to 0 return. Now let's try the Z first. Go to position 2 to see what it's doing. So now it's moved all the way over, and now the Z is at 0. So keep holding this down. We still gotta do the X. So we're gonna do the X. And now the X is at 0 as well. At this point, you can take your hands off the buttons. Mine kind of stuck in there. So you can take your hands off. We're gonna do a soft reset. Just turn the power on off, and then we're gonna home it and make sure everything's good. So wait a couple seconds. I usually like to keep the e-stop in, but and then pull it out after like this. But when you're doing a P cancel, you want to have this out when you're booting up the controller, if that makes sense, because that's just the procedure. But so let's go and home the machine. Go to all. So let's do the Z first. Now it should go back. We're a little negative. Yep, 0. Let's do the X. Nice. So if you don't believe me, we're 0 now. Again, this is millimeters. So now I'm gonna show you what it looks like from this point of view with the proc switch. You see its position now, the target is way to the right. Also, our die grinder lines are lined up here. So that's the soft limit or the home position, and this is the soft limit. Then the hard limit is like down here a little bit. And as a bonus, the Z, you didn't believe me, yeah, that was kind of how I referenced everything. I also have a third line here. When my Z is all the way over, that's about where the hard limit is. All right, last but not least, let's show you the X home now with the correct parameter and doing the P cancel. P cancel is a pretty funny terminology, but it took me a while to get it figured out to see what it actually does. So yeah, let's go back to the control. No alarms. Can't really get out this way, so I'm gonna go around. Whew. All right, I think it's time to get out of here. I hope this video wasn't too lengthy. I hope it helps someone out. Like I said, I really didn't know much about parameters at all, and I'm still very much a rookie. So feel free to critique me. Anything wrong I said, I'll make sure the information is in the comments, so I'm not spreading misinformation. But I worked really closely with Larry from Larry Divis from YCM-TC-15 out in California. I believe they're the actual importers of these machines, and he knew this controller very well, and he knew this machine very well, and he was able to help me solve most of these problems. So shout out to Larry. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If there's anything else I can think of that I should include, I'm gonna put it in the description, but if there's nothing there, then pretty much covered all our bases. But yeah, hope this helps someone, and hope you all have a good day.